You say, what about science? Don't we have to apply science to the Genesis account to be intellectually honest? Don't we have to bring the vast scientific knowledge that we've accumulated in the modern world to bear upon the text of Genesis in order that we can have a true understanding of it? Well, there are a lot of people who believe that, and there are a mass of people who call themselves Christians who believe that Genesis is an inadequate presentation of what happened, and we have to marry it with scientific discovery in order to get to the truth. Let me help you, folks. Let me help you. Get past that notion, and you will free yourself from needless doubts and endless confusion. Get past the idea that science, listen, makes any contribution to an understanding of creation. It makes none. Now, this may shock you. There is no such thing as the science of creation. There is no such thing. It does not exist. Why? Because there is no scientific way to explain creation. It was not a natural event or a series of natural events. It was a brief series of monumental supernatural events that cannot be explained by science. And so again I say there is no such thing as the science of creation. All science is based on observation, and no one observed creation. All science necessitates verification by repetition. And creation cannot be repeated, and thus it cannot be verified. Creation had no observers and cannot be repeated. It is not observable. It is not repeatable. It did not happen by any uniform, predictable, observable, repeatable, fixed, natural laws. None of it happened according to any of those things. It is just the opposite of that. Creation was a series of supernatural, instantaneous, inexplicable miracles. Supernatural. That is why there is nowhere in the Genesis account any place where evolution is mentioned or even hinted at. There are no natural processes in creation. They are all supernatural. Evolution was not the means or a means by which God created. It was all supernatural and miraculous. There's only one record of creation, Genesis 1 and 2. You can believe it or you can reject it, but that's all there is. You say, well, wait a minute. Don't creatures change? Yes. Don't plants change? Don't animals develop and mutate within species? And isn't there progress in growth? Yes. And all of that is true and has absolutely nothing to do with creation. Nothing. How the created material reality operates, we can observe. How the created material functions, we can discern. But watching the way it functions and the way it operates gives us, listen to this, no information about its creation. None. Doesn't tell us anything about how it came into existence in the first place. Let me give you an illustration. Let's say that you lived in Jerusalem at the time that Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. And you met Lazarus. Hi, Mr. Lazarus. Nice to meet you. You felt his hand. Wow, you were dead, huh? I was dead. You're alive, right? Yeah. Could I hang around you a little bit? I want to kind of observe that. I'd like to do a little analysis of you. Sure. And you followed Mr. Lazarus around. You watched the way he walked. You watched the way he talked. You watched the way he scratched his head. You watched the way he ate, and you observed him. Maybe you kept a little record of all the things that he did. You could keep observing Lazarus as he did his daily living for the rest of his life, and it would tell you nothing about how he came back from the dead. Nothing. Because his resurrection had nothing to do with any of those natural processes. It was a supernatural miracle. Or let's say you were in Galilee the week after Jesus fed the 5,000 men plus women plus children, the loaves and the fish. And you wanted to know, where in the world did he get that ability to do that? How did he do that? How did he feed those people with loaves and fish? How did he do that miracle? And you decided that you were going to go up there and you're going to interview all those people. And you're going to ask them about what they felt while they were eating it, and how it was digested, and any experiences that they might have had after having that meal. It wouldn't do any good if you were in the process of that investigation trying to figure out how Jesus made fish and bread out of nothing. You see, that is analogous to the issue of creation. You can observe the way things are now, but that doesn't tell you anything about how they became what they are. Creation cannot be understood any other way than by believing the revelation of the Creator, and that's your first test when you open your Bible. I am absolutely astounded at how many people who call themselves Christians, who lead large and effective Christian ministries, don't have any position on Genesis 1 and 2, except that they find it hard to believe it. And I ask them, at what chapter do you kick in? When do we finally get you on board? Is it Genesis 3? Do you buy that? Or maybe 4? What I'm saying is creation has no connection at all to science, any more than the behavior of Lazarus could in any way reveal how he was raised from the dead. Creation is not a scientific event, cannot be explained scientifically, as if natural law played any part. Creation was a massive supernatural miracle to be equaled by the future uncreation, when in a lot less than 6 days, God destroys everything He created. Neither event, creation or uncreation, can be explained by any natural fixed laws. So, all that is left to the reader is the opportunity to believe, fidelity, faithful trust in the Word of the Creator. That's all we've got. People say, well, couldn't God have used evolution? Couldn't He? That's a ridiculous question. Could frogs fly?